Disclaimer. I am a law student, and the legal information provided is not legal advice. For that, please hire an attorney. Oh, hey, Zan. What's up?
Hey.
So,
I'm doing pretty good. I'm reading donos. I had a shit ton of them while I was debating.
Oh, really? Tell me how your chat was, like, basically during that. Like, how are they doing?
How my chat was?
Yeah.
Oh, the chat was basically laughing at, like, every argument they made. Most of what the chat was saying was, like, why are they bringing this up? This doesn't prove the conclusion she's trying to get to. That was mostly what they were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I won't
like
say... Or go on.
Well, like, they would try to claim... So we got to a point where they decided that just because of my parasocial, like, power, that they would refuse to acknowledge or believe any screenshots that I have that were, like, either gathered or have my other friends from the Discord like saying that, oh no, it wasn't a sexual relationship, or no, there wasn't any relationship, because I might have, like, influenced them to say that. So it got to the point where, like, they wouldn't accept any eyewitness testimony from any of them. They wouldn't accept any screenshots. Like, what the fuck else can I do at this point other than try to prove that Spooky's a liar? So I brought up a few examples of Spooky lying, such as the no trans woman in the friend group thing. And then they brought up me, I guess, like, maybe not being as diligent on cutting down on problematic ableist behaviors. If you interpret it in a certain way as me lying, like, I don't know. Like, their arguments kind of seem to crumble at every turn. So my chat would basically just sort of kick W at them for that.
Yeah, so, and again, I won't weigh too much in personally, because, I mean, like, this is live, right? Like, we're both streaming live, and I don't want this to turn into a situation where I say something that can be misconstrued or taken out of place to basically say, like, you know, I could very easily see a video going up tomorrow that's like, oh, Cancel Contour loses rigged debate with Xanderhal as Riley Grace is da-da-da. You know, I don't want to open up that possibility, so I won't, you know, give too many of my own personal opinions. Just my chat was very similar, right? Like, yeah, like there was about, like, at the 2-hour mark, people were basically saying, like, oh my god, Riley, please end it. Yeah, listen, I want to think that, you know, I did my best, and I tried my best to be as impartial and as good a third party as I can be. And that's all I'll say about that, because I am 6 hours into streaming, and I probably have some more to go after this. But yeah, so
I do appreciate you hosting that, and I think you did a good job. The main issue is, though, like, this is the problem with, like, being like a completely neutral, like, debate host or debate moderator.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, you cut out for a second, or my internet dropped for a second. God damn it! Ah! Sorry, hold on.
I think your internet died.
Yeah, my internet. Oh my fucking god! I'm going to lose my absolute shit. I'm actually going to lose my absolute shit. That is like the 4th or 5th time it has happened tonight. I'm going to lose my mind. It literally this only started yesterday.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yeah,
it happened while you were complaining about it.
Oh my god, yeah. All right, how much of that did you hear? How much of that did you hear? Because I basically
you were yelling about how shitty your internet is. I more or less got the sentiment, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, you were saying that the hard thing about being a moderator or debate hostess or whatever, and then you cut out.
Oh, so I talked to Lonnie about this earlier before I started my stream, because me and Lonnie watch your content.
Cool.
I was talking to her about this, and we're like, it's got to be really hard for you if you're talking to somebody who, like, I would call, like, a wokelet or a woke scold, who's talking about how, like, for example, ContraPoints is, like, a problematic and what have you, or a true scum, and you have to sit there, like, because you can't, like, go in, like, especially if you're moderating the debate, but if you're, like, even doing the debate, you know, you can't, like, you have to try to seem unbiased there, and that's got to be, like, really frustrating, because you know it's not the case in, like, a scenario like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, so going with the ContraPoints example, right? like especially post hoc, you know, it's a lot easier for people to like recognize who is right and who's wrong. And I'm not saying that that's different necessarily in this circumstance, but like the thing is when you are handling people who very clearly like have done, like, you know, you can say what you want, they did their homework, you know, they went through like all of your streams, all of your contents, and they dug up like everything, right, to try and make these various arguments against you. And like the thing that I am always very conscious of is making sure that I, especially acting like in a third party capacity, or even just in my regular capacity making content, that I try to minimalize the things that people could use against me, which don't actually really go to like my arguments. Because the unfortunate consequence is that like all of this was drama. None of this actually was like about politics, right? Like this was an entire evening of just drama, right? And you know, for as much as it seems I am involved in drama nowadays, or at least involved in talking about it, it is primarily content which is disinteresting to me insofar as I don't feel like it's really all that constructive, and it ends up being like a big reason why people who are more conservative end up having a leg up on us, is because we're so bogged down in drama that we can't actually like focus on, you know, like defeating fascism or whatever the goal is. And so,
yeah, no, this has just happened time and time again. Like leftists just can't get along. It's like I'm fully convinced it's actually impossible, and it's unfortunate, and I'm not happy about it. But I've sort of had to just sort of like realize that's just how it's always going to be.
Right.
I mean, it's how the right fell. Like remember the skeptic community back in the day? There was no stopping the skeptic community. It was like this pretty tight-knit community of people for the most part.
Oh shit, yeah.
Besides like a few outliers. But then Destiny came along and started like tearing them down in debates. And then on top of that, things like some of them ended up being pedophiles. Some of them ended up like there was just like a bunch of drama that happened that ended up destroying them. And I'm worried that'll happen to breadtube too, because I remember I was like young and naive and thought, oh yeah, breadtube's this new rising sort of like group that's going to take down the alt-right, but it's just all infighting constantly. And at first I tried to avoid it and fight it and say, no, we need to work together. But now it's just, I realize it's just how things are. There's nothing I can do about it. Just let's sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, some people naturally, you know, drive, you know, drama their way just by the nature of how they do it. And I, you know, as I discovered more about like you and Vosh, and we wouldn't call Destiny a leftist, but, you know, people who are adjacent to leftism or progressive values or whatever, right? Like, yeah, y'all by virtue of the way that you do your content are going to be controversial, right? Like, especially when you use more inflammatory tactics and language, like it will happen, and it probably won't be stopping anytime soon, right?
And it gets worse with your size. You don't even have to be controversial in the way that like me and Vosh are to get tons of shit, right? I mean, you know, Contra isn't very problematic at all. I mean, she's very, very, you know, she does her thing. She makes video essays. Nothing there is like very like there's nothing inflammatory.
Yeah.
She still gets tons of shit just because she's popular. It just seems to be a thing. It's inevitable if you're like a popular lefty creator.
Oh no, trust me, I get it. And like it's tough for Natalie because I mean like it. Like, and again, like this is something I won't talk a whole lot about, but like she's dealing with a lot of personal shit right now. Like people want to wonder why there hasn't been a video in a while because she's dealing with a lot of shit that has arisen from things happening on, you know, on YouTube and social media. Because like when you're when you go to a community, and you expect that community to be like your source of support and your social network, and then like out of seemingly nowhere, right, that community completely turns on you. Basically overnight, it's kind of demoralizing, right? It's hard because like these are the people that we look to be our friends, and you know, one day you're just doing what you always do, and the next day you end up with death threats and all of your friends kind of like ghosting or leaving you, right? It's a hard situation.
I'm not going to call it. Yeah, it really, really does suck, and I'm not going to call it like cancel culture because like I feel like that's kind of like, you know, it's a little cringy.
Yeah,
but it isn't. Like what we would call this, if you want to call it cancel culture, I guess fine. But like whatever you would call this. Sorry, what? Yeah,
I was just gonna say that like cancel culture, and actually it's interesting. Chud Logic was talking about this, and like I've been watching Chud Logic more. So like he talked about So like he talked about this on stream recently, and basically how cancel culture at this point encompasses like a wide range of different things, right? I think that like in the best faith sense, because I mean like originally it came from this idea that, you know, we as like people with a social media apparatus are able to now, whereas before we weren't able to, hold people in power accountable who were previously unable to be held accountable, right? And I think that's like using that in the best faith sense, like true to that. I think that's valid to some degree, right? Because otherwise, there's really no way to be able to hold people in power accountable. The problem usually arises when you have either people targeting like your average, no platform Joe on social media who, might have like 3 followers on Twitter and ends up getting nuked into oblivion over something stupid they say, or when you have people who exist in this nebulous gray area where it might look like to some people that they have a giant platform, like some YouTubers that we might know. But in actuality, they probably have like, I don't know, maybe the wealth and status of like an upper middle class person in America. And also, friendly reminder to everyone watching, even if you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, it doesn't amount to all that much fame, right? Like it might feel like a lot, but in actuality, like in the grand scheme of things, it's not like we're talking about people who like work in Hollywood and are on like big blockbuster films, We're not talking about J.K. Rowling.
That's the problem. That's the problem, though, right? Even J.K. Rowling, although I would argue she probably deserved most of it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying that she does.
Like big celebrities. Well, even big celebrities, people with tons of following, probably can't handle, especially Contra, because she's not even like a huge celebrity outside of YouTube. Mm-hmm. Fucking realistically should not have to deal with this kind of shit. No human can handle this kind of like this sheer amount of dogpiling. Okay, in any other circumstance, who would equate this to how like Nazis on 4chan and whatnot have been going after and harassing and like obsessing over Christine Weston Chandler, the like girl that's been harassed by Nazis online for like a decade. Like that's the equivalent of this. And no, having a large audience doesn't thicken your skin automatically. If you're just like making content online, especially if you're like a leftist or like a progressive, making progressive content, like Natalie, like for example, has to deal with Nazis going after her. And trust me, I know she gets it worse than I do. And other people on the left. Other people on the left should be like her support group, if anything. Like, I don't know. It's just like this is a thing all breadtubers seem to have to deal with to certain degrees. And depending on like what kind of content you make or how popular you are, like sort of changes how you deal with it, right? Like I feel like Thought Slime sort of feeds into it and capitulates to this kind of behavior, and so he doesn't get as much shit for it. Because he also kind of does it too. But like someone like Philosophy Tube, someone like H Bomber Guy, Lindsay Ellis, ContraPoints, like any of them, they don't really like, they get shit even though they aren't really problematic, just because these people seem to want somebody to attack.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and people will usually, cite some justification for that, right? And we don't have to go through all the examples. Like, I think that the main thing to remember, and you kind of touched on this, right? Is that like, especially when we're talking about people like leftist content creators in particular, they're already being harassed by people on the daily, right? Like when we're talking about like leftist content creators, like not only are they making political content, which is already going to get you people like doxing you and harassing you on the internet, but like taking a leftist progressive stance, I mean, that's how you get all the Nazis barking down you. That's how you get all the people calling you like a soy boy cuck barking down you. That's how you get all the the transphobes and the swerfs and the turfs barking down you, right? You get basically all the bad shit. That's how you get like the worst shit on the internet to go after you. And then you might see this and you might intuitively think, oh, well, considering, we get like the worst of the worst coming after our creators, and, you'd expect us to kind of band together and look out for our own, right? And unfortunately you see, often kind of the opposite, right? And that's the real tragedy, I think, in this particular circumstance, because like this is a particularized problem to like breadtube or lefttube or whatever you want to call it, right? Where people are already at a base given, and this even happens to me nowadays, right? Again, it's to a lesser extent, but like considering how small I am and I already get hate on the daily, right? I can only fucking imagine what it's like for larger people, and I've talked to people and I get like a better idea, but like I don't have that lived experience. But like considering that like even the smallest creators on this platform get hate from people, like that problem is only going to be exponentially worse for people who are up at the tippy top. And like the fact that we just kind of like have a tendency to treat them like shit sometimes isn't great,
yeah. And then there's like the bad faith and the dishonesty. There's somebody who does this, and I want to talk to them soon. Like many of you guys may know who they are, but I'm not going to name them here, but they admitted on Twitter the other day that, and they're like a pretty big proponent of like the cancel ContraPoints shit. They admitted on Twitter they don't watch Contra's videos. They read her scripts. They don't watch the videos. They read the scripts, and that's how they consume her content. So you've seen ContraPoint's videos. You probably know that there are a lot of things that if you just read it instead of seeing her say it, that could come off very, very problematic, such as, anytime she's sarcastic, which she is very often. Like, if you're not even willing to put in the effort of watching the video on 2 times speed and you deliberately go out of your way to consume the content in a way that basically guarantees that you're going to be have as little context and be unable to I don't know. It's like the nuances all gone. Fucking creeper. Sorry. All the nuances destroyed whenever you go about things that way. It's just so hard for me to have any sympathy for these people, I guess.
I mean, I get that. It's hard for me because I don't know. At this point, I feel like I've actually been able to do a pretty good job of staying neutral as far as LeftTube drama has gone, right? I know I had on I talked to Peter Coffin the other day on the panel, and that actually went over pretty well, even though I know that him and Bosch have gotten into it pretty heavily, and there's some division there. I was able to recently talk to Luxander, who's pretty neutral and basically has represented a lot of what I believed, what I've said in this discussion.
Super chill.
Yeah, that was a super awesome chat, right? But I mean, essentially, that's the way I'm trying to take it, and for as long as I'm able to, essentially the way that I'm trying to do this, and the sort of philosophy as I continue to grow.
I think a cat just walked on Vermin's keyboard.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
Was it Artemy or Scrotomy? That's the question. Which cat was it, Aina?
Oh my god, wonderful. 10 out of 10.
Based kitty.
But anyway, the way that I take it, and maybe, I don't know, people can do with this what they want. It's so far worked for me, right? When I was growing up, I often got into similar squabbles among friends, where people would always fight among each other, and there'd be one friend or another who'd be like, you have to choose them or me. It's going to be one of us or the other, and you have to choose only one. And generally speaking, whenever someone puts an ultimatum to me like that, I end up usually going with the other person, right? I'm very rare to, in the face of criticism, abandon my relationship with the person, because again, I do take a utilitarian perspective of a lot of these things. I do believe that I can change minds, and as long as I believe that, then I'm not going to be mean with my criticisms to people unless I feel it's overwhelmingly justified. Even yesterday, and obvious, the most immediate example with this is the stuff that's happening with Calvin. Now, Calvin isn't a leftist, so all the same stuff doesn't apply to him. But obviously, when he released the video with Blair, that was pretty fucking both surprising, confusing, or it was surprising, confusing, and pretty it's pretty disappointing, right?
No, ironically though, he a couple hours after I uploaded my video responding to it, he deleted it. I've talked to him briefly in DM since then. He's really been getting into Vosh's videos, and he thinks they're really funny, so that's definitely good. But I'm pretty sure light up your house, I'll do it later, chat. But yeah, I think he's probably on a pretty good path now. It's just a matter of realistically, he wasn't going to change his entire outlook and his entire YouTube channel style, after talking to us once, right?
Yeah.
With Hunter Avalone, right? Vosh had to talk to him multiple times. They had to communicate in DMs off stream. But now Hunter's literally just made a video a week ago that was really, really good, where he's debunking all of his old transphobic arguments from his old videos. I would love to see Calvin Gara do that. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not, I can understand holding Calvin accountable, but why are they trying to hold us accountable? Because we had an amicable conversation with him, and a couple days later, he uploaded a video bullying Milo Stewart, who, by the way, was in the chat in my video where I was covering the fucking video that they made. I don't know. Yeah.
No, and trust me, and I get that. I'm not going to in any way defend that video, but I think that acknowledging. And also, I've been, we've exchanged numbers and we text and, we talk, semi-frequently, right? And, you know, there is something to the, like, essentially, you know, he was able to recognize after the fact, and mind you, this wasn't something I pushed on him. This was just, it was completely a surprise to me when he took it down. So it probably did have something to do with your video. And the fact that, you know, he recognized that, like, yeah, it was actually pretty bad and I shouldn't have put it out, right? Like, that degree of self-recognition, again, it's not like a complete 180 change, but like, that's pretty fucking meaningful, right? I wouldn't dismiss that as nothing. And I understand that doesn't mean people should automatically like believe him or should automatically like accept him or whatever, right? Like, people can be like, I think that people have a justified right to be skeptic when we're talking about someone with a history such as his. But like, I think it's also pretty hard to just like completely disregard this like on that same point, right? Like, it is change, and it's positive change. And really, like, the only way I'm looking at it is like, hey, let's see how far we can take this. Right. 100% utilitarian.
And I think Calvin's genuine.
Yeah.
I don't think many people agree with this, but I think Calvin's genuine and like his beliefs. Like, I don't think he's like a grifter who's just doing what he's doing to make money. There may be the pressure. I'll admit there's probably a lot of pressure for him to sort of like maintain the type of content he makes, because, you know, that's what he's built his whole channel on. But I think he's actually genuine, like, with his beliefs. Like, I don't think he's like Blair White, who just has a very strong like attachment to her type of content that she makes, and will probably never change her mind no matter how good you argue it. I think if you can make a reasonable argument to Calvin, he'll change his mind. Yeah, I think he's good faith.
And that's the hard thing, right? Is that, like, I can't remember if it was like if you had joined at the point in our discussion. I think that you were a part of it, but I remembered asking him because we were in the call, and, you know, he was being very amicable. So I was like, hey, do you think that Blair actually like believes the things that she says in good faith, or some degree of good faith, or do you think that she's just grifting to an opinion? And he said that he liked her, and it might be like half and half, but, you know, that she genuinely believes what she says. And that is so morally hard for me, because, like, historically I've just kind of dunked on her. And mind you, I don't think that people would be unjustified in just like dunking on her. Like, it's very easy, right? Anyone with like half a brain, I'm sorry for saying it this mean, but like, I think anyone with half a brain, or like at least like the most basic know-how about trans issues, could dunk on her pretty easy. But like, when you're dealing with someone who actually is in good faith, I do run into this question of like, okay, if she is genuinely acting in good faith, does that mean, and I'm asking this question, I'm not proposing that I know the answer, like, because I don't. This is something I've been struggling with. But like, if she genuinely believes the things that she says, and she might be able to be convinced on them, does that mean that we should try, or is it basically like a she's too far gone sort of a situation, right? That's basically, and I again, like, I'm not asking that necessarily looking for a specific answer. I'm not like, this is like, again, and most people, like, this is a very controversial way to look at it, because I understand that most people would feel morally justified in just being like, fuck Blair, fuck her into the ground, or whatever, right? Like, you know, that's basically the way that most people probably in both your and my communities and like our broader community would feel about her. But like, personally, as a content creator, I do have to wonder if it would be to our advantage to like try and be more amicable towards her, or because remind me, she had a debate with Vosh, right? I haven't actually watched that, but like, how did that go over when it happened?
So that debate, so I like Vosh, I guess you could say, won the debate, but it's one of his most like regret. He has the most regret from that debate than any other, because he feels he went way too easy on her.
Really?
Most of her arguments hinged around the idea that she is like, how can she be transphobic? How can she have a negative effect on the trans community if she's gone to so many like different places where she's talked to her fans, and she's had the parents of like trans kids that are fans of her go to her and say, oh my God, I used to think being transgender was this weird, terrible thing, but then my daughter showed me your videos and now I know it's all cool and what have you. Like, that's a thing that's happened, and she talks about those stories and whatnot, and that was the thing she brought up. But like, I don't know, she basically didn't like, there was no progress made from that debate. Yeah, it's one of Vosh's most regretted like debates. And
that's the thing about it, is that like, I'm saying all of this and I raise all this speculation, but I also don't want to, I mean, like, this is the kind of stuff that like concern trolls would say, right? It's like, oh, you're going too hard. Oh, I think that you're just being unreasonable. But like, if that has been tried in the past, like if people have like honestly tried to make it like a good faith discussion to her and have tried to reach her, and it hasn't worked despite people's best efforts, then it does leave me wondering whether or not it's actually possible or worth it to try in the future. Again, I agree with that. Yeah, like, I propose that question not with a particular answer, just because like this is Like, honestly, out of all the political issues that are in my mind lately, like, a lot of them are pretty, like, open and shut. This is probably one of the more harder, like, philosophical ones for me. But yeah, so that's just what's going on in my head.
Yeah, I feel more or less the same way. It's just like, you can't really, like, know what anybody is thinking. You just kind of have to, like, for me, it's like, just, I gotta try my best to, you know, try to move people over as much as possible. I've kind of viewed it as like Calvin being potentially like my Hunter Avallone, you know, how Vosh was able to pull Hunter Avallone over quite a bit. Hopefully I can sort of pull over Calvin.
Hey, listen, joint effort there, friend. We were both there. All right.
Yeah, we're both. Yeah, well, I'll listen. We both get credit. Okay.
You're damn right. You're damn right. But yeah, no, I do feel that. I do feel that, and I think that would be amazing. Like, I do think that the Calvin redemption arc is quite feasible. You know, I have high hopes for it. Blair,
he's changed his opinions in the past. Like early, didn't he think that like non-binary people were under no circumstances real? Like they're all non-binary people are transgenders, so on and so on. I'm pretty sure he's changed his opinion on that like over time.
Yeah. No, he has certainly. Again, like I know that Mo is in my chat. Hey Mo, and that Mo recently made like a very scathing video of Calvin, and I'm not trying to like dissuade people. Again, like I've said this before, but just to be clear, like people can maintain like negative opinions about Calvin that they feel is justified, or they think that they're owed a bigger apology. I wouldn't say that's unreasonable, especially because like I'm a binary trans person, right? Like, it's not like a lot of what he has said has directly impacted me, so I wouldn't feel the same kinds of effect as a lot of like what he has done in the past, right? Like, I wouldn't fit into the demographic of people he would criticize as being quote transgenders. So I say it with this so I say that with that caveat, right? But I don't know. I just I'm hopeful, and that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, I think. Hey, really quick, do you want to shout yourself out because people in chat are saying, "Who is she?"
Oh shit! Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Riley Grace Roshong. I'm a smaller, like leftist political content maker. Stream on YouTube, Twitch, and I'm a law student here in Maryland. I'm hoping to do politics and law when I grow up. As I go forward in my career. So yeah, hit me up. All right. Well, hey, Zan, thanks. I appreciate it, and nice chat. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's more or less everything I was down to talk about. Is there anything that you wanted to hit on? Because I'm still streaming for like, at least another hour, I think. I'm really enjoying myself. I want to make some good progress in this world tonight. You're
all good. I promised my chat that I would react to a couple other videos. So I think I'm going to try and get like one or two more, whatever my energy will allow for. But hey, I got some energy left in me. Surprise, surprise, after that, 3-hour debate. Oh my God.
You didn't have to talk too much though. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I feel like I got some more in the tank, so I'm gonna go do that. But yeah, thanks for chatting. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. It's been fun talking to you. I do enjoy talking to you. Me and I like your content a lot. I think you're probably gonna end up being fucking massive on YouTube. Me and my girlfriend have been watching your stuff, and it's pretty good. We're actually watching your Witcher 3 stream last night. Hold on, I gotta give you some advice. I gotta give you some Witcher advice. No spoiler knows though, okay?
Hit me up.
There are different types of potions you can make in The Witcher. Also, I'm going to tell you right now, the game feels easy at the moment. Wait till you get out of White Orchard. Once you get into the actual open world, you're just in the tutorial area right now. Mm-hmm. Once you get out into the open world, you're going to go around and you're going to run into like a level 50 basilisk or some shit, and you're going to die in one hit. So yeah, eventually you will get... Yeah. Eventually you will have to get to the point where you have to focus hard on preparing for fights, like making blade oils for fighting certain monsters. You'll have to... you make decoctions, different mutagens from monsters that you kill to like upgrade your character, different like potions. Like you'll have to get like it'll get to the point where you have to actually like prepare for fights pretty hard. But at the moment you can mostly just kind of go in how you already are and be fine.
All right.
Until you get out of White Orchard, that is.
All right, that sounds good. Then I'll probably look up some guides too, just so I'm not like, wasting chat's time as I'm trying to like figure out the basic mechanics of the game. Also, wait, here's a quick question, all right? Should I get a controller? Because I've heard a couple of people tell me I should get a controller. Yes? Okay.
Yeah, I remember I was watching the stream with my girlfriend, and I was like, oh no, she's playing on mouse and keyboard.
Fuck.
Yeah, no, The Witcher 3 is a game you're going to want to play with a controller. I use a PS3 controller. I've been using the same PS3 controller since I was like maybe 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's lasted me for about 10 years, or actually 11 years now.
Damn. All right, then I guess I'll have to look into getting a controller before next time I stream Witcher. Shit. All right, then yeah, I'll definitely do that. All right, hey, thanks for the advice, and yeah, thanks for chatting. I likewise appreciate it. It's cool every time we talk, and super cool.
Oh yeah, I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Have a good night. See ya.